Hi, cheers! So I am Mary Joy Iragudo, and I am tasked to report on this lesson, which is the lesson 4, Interactions Among Living Things in Coral Reefs and Tropical Rainforest. So in behalf of my group mates, Marian Trenilia, who made the lecture notes, and Cherry May Gaitera for this PowerPoint, I am here to expand your learning about this topic. So let's go! So let's begin. So what is coral reef? So a coral reef is an underwater ecosystem characterized by reef-building corals. So reefs are formed of colonies of coral polyps held together by calcium carbonate. Most coral reefs are built from stony corals whose polyps cluster in groups. Coral reefs flourish in ocean waters that provide few nutrients, so they are most commonly found at shallow depths in tropical waters, but deep water and cold water coral reefs exist on smaller scales in other areas. So coral reefs protect coastlines from storms and erosion. It also provides jobs for local communities and offer opportunities for recreation. They also are a source of food and new medicines. So over half a billion people depend on reefs for food, income, and protection. So now let us proceed to coral reefs formations, which are fringing reefs, barrier reefs, atolls, and patch reefs. So the first type is the fringing reefs, which grows near the coastline around islands and continents. They are separated from the shore by narrow, shallow lagoons. So fringing reefs are the most common type of reef. So fringing reefs, which are the most common, project seaward directly from the shore, forming borders along the shoreline and surrounding islands. So the next type is the barrier reefs, also parallel the coastline but are separated by deeper, so wider lagoons. At their shallowest points, they can reach the water surface, forming a barrier to navigation. Coral reefs form barriers for coastlines, acting as a buffer from the waves and storms that come in from the open ocean. So for many towns and cities, if coral reefs were no longer there, then they could find themselves battered and bruised by the incoming elements. Next are the atolls. Atolls are rings or coral that create protective lagoons, and they're usually located in the middle of the sea. Atolls usually form when islands surrounded by fringing reefs sink into the sea or the sea level rises around them. So you can see below, there's an image of atolls. So the bikini in the Pacific Ocean is an example of an atoll. So the formation of an atoll is a slow process that can take millions of years. It begins when an underwater volcano erupts, creating a buildup of lava on the seafloor. So with continued eruptions, the lava continues to build until it breaks through the ocean surface and forms an island. Reefs. These are small isolated reefs that grow up from the open bottom of the island platform or continental shelf. So they usually occur between fringing reefs and barrier reefs. So they vary greatly in size and they rarely reach the surface of the water. Patch reefs are formed on rocky or fossilized coral outcroppings in 10 to 20 feet of water. As the corals grow, they grow upward and outward, and each polyp needs to move upward and outward as well. This occurs by laying down more calcium carbonate under themselves. So next, tropical rainforest. So tropical rainforests are rainforests that occur in areas of tropical rainforest climate in which there is no dry season. All months have an average precipitation of at least 60 m and may also be referred to as lowland equatorial evergreen rainforest. So true rainforests are typically found between 10 degrees north and south of the equator. So rainforests are home to half of all the living animal and plant species on the planet. So two-thirds of all flowering plants can be found in rainforests. So tropical rainforests are among the most threatened ecosystems globally due to large-scale fragmentation as a result of human activity. So facts about tropical rainforest. So there are several different types of rainforest. Then rainforests cover less than 3% of the planet. The world's largest rainforest is the Amazon rainforest. Then number 4, rainforests house more species of plants and animals than any other terrestrial ecosystem. Then much of the life in the rainforest is found in the trees. Then many products we use on a daily basis come from rainforest plants. Then rainforests help fight global warming. Then rainforests are being destroyed at a pace of 8 million hectares per year. Then we are destroying rainforests via our consumption patterns. Then bold new ideas are being proposed to save rainforests. So now let's go to the types of tropical rainforest. So tropical rainforests merge into other types of forest depending on the altitude, latitude, and various soil, flooding, and climate conditions. These forest types form a mosaic of vegetation types which contribute to the overwhelming diversity of the topics. Equatorial evergreen rainforest versus moist forest. So there are two major types of wet tropical forest. These are equatorial evergreen rainforest and the moist forest, which includes monsoon forest and montane or cloud forests. Equatorial rainforest, often considered the real rainforest. These are characterized by more than 80 inches of rain annually spread evenly throughout the year. So these forests have the highest biological diversity and have a well-developed canopy tier form of vegetation. Roughly two-thirds of the world's tropical wet forests can be considered the equatorial type. These forests are near the equator, where there is very little seasonal variation and the solar is constantly length all year round. Equatorial forest climate: very wet with over 2,000 mm of rainfall per year, very warm with an average daily temperature of 28 degrees Celsius. The temperature never drops below 20 degrees Celsius and rarely exceeds 35 degrees Celsius. The atmosphere is hot and humid. The climate is consistent all year round and there are no seasons. And its soil? Most of the soil is not very fertile. Then a thin layer of fertile soil is found at the surface where the dead leaves decomposed. Then it is red in color because it is rich in iron. Due to heavy rainfall, the nutrients are quickly washed out of the soil. How about plants and animals there? So the warm and very wet climate provides perfect conditions for plant growth. Then the wide range of plant species supports many different animals, birds, and insects. Then species have adapted to the conditions of the rainforest. Trees and plants have shallow reaching roots to absorb nutrients from the thin fertile layer in the soil. The next is the tropical moist forest. These are found at a greater distance from the equator, where rainfall and day length vary seasonally. So these forests get only 50 inches of rain annually and are markedly distinguished from equatorial forests by a cooler, dry season. During this dry season, many trees shed some or even all their leaves, creating a seasonal reduction of canopy cover and allowing more sunlight to reach the forest floor. The tropical rainforest is a forest occurring in tropical areas of heavy rainfall. It is abundant with many species of wildlife and vegetation. Rainforest covers less than 2% of the Earth's surface. Rainforests are the most productive and most complex ecosystems on Earth. Tropical rainforests are found in Central and South America, Western and Central Africa, Western India, Southeast Asia, the island of New Guinea, and Australia. Rainforests are populated with insects such as butterflies and beetles, arachnids like spiders and ticks, worms, reptiles like snakes and lizards, amphibians like frogs and toads, birds like parrots and toucans, and mammals like sloths and jaguars. So different animals live in different strata of the rainforest. The increased sunlight reaching the forest floor allows the growth of vigorous understory vegetation not found in lowland equatorial forest. So such moist forest is found in parts of South America, the Caribbean, West Africa, and Southeast Asia, especially Thailand, Burma, Vietnam, and Sri Lanka. So, interactions. Among living things in coral reefs, the coral reef's ecosystem is a diverse collection of species that interact with each other and the physical environment. So, the sun is the initial source of energy for this ecosystem. Through photosynthesis, phytoplankton, algae, and other plants convert light energy into chemical energy. So as animals eat plants or other animals, a portion of this energy is passed on. So this photo is an example of what we call the interaction between fishes and their habitat, which is the coral reefs. Among living things in tropical rainforests, the complex web of interactions among the species of the rainforest often involves insects, plants, and primitive organisms such as fungi. Ants are especially likely to form various symbiotic relationships. So this photo is an example of interaction between the tropical forest and the animals. So we can see the variety of animals there that take advantage of what their habitat offers. So how do tropical rainforests and coral reefs affect us? So for coral reefs, these coral reefs not only support countless animals and provide a spectacular underwater landscape for filmmakers, scuba divers, and other ocean explorers, they give immeasurable value to people around the world. They protect shorelines around the world from coastal storms and erosion, often sparing people's homes from the worst natural disasters. So fisheries depend on coral reefs to provide seafood, an important source of protein and nutrition for most of the world's population. Tourism of coral reefs is also a major economic contributor to several developing countries. Because of their biodiversity, coral reefs can even provide research to help scientists develop life-saving medicine and treatments. For tropical rainforests, as well as the vivid beauty that comes with great diversity in plants and animals, rainforests also play a practical role in keeping our planet healthy. By absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing the oxygen that we depend on for our survival. The absorption of this Carbon dioxide also helps to stabilize the Earth's climate. Rainforests also help to maintain the world's water cycle by adding water to the atmosphere through the process of transpiration, which creates clouds. So let's proceed to their importance. Coral reefs are called the tropical rainforest of the sea. So for their outstanding richness of life, due to their structural complexity, corals are one of the most productive ecosystems on Earth, providing important services to mankind including fisheries, coastal protection, medicines, recreation, and tourism. Coral reefs are important for many different reasons, aside from supposedly containing the most diverse ecosystems on the planet. They protect coastlines from the damaging effects of wave action and tropical storms. It provides habitats and shelter for many marine organisms, are the source of nitrogen and other essential nutrients for marine food chains. It assists in carbon and nitrogen fixing, and lastly, it helps with the nutrient recycling. So now let us proceed to examples of living things. So number one is human beings. Humans impact to the physical environment in many ways. Overpopulation, pollution, burning fossil fuels, and deforestation. Changes like these have triggered climate change, soil erosion, poor air quality, and undrinkable water. So, human environment interaction is the way people adapt and modify the environment. So, these are three types of human environment interaction. First, the way people depend on the environment for food, water, timber, natural gas, and etc. Second, the way people adopt the environment to fulfill their own needs. Third, the way people modify the environment positively or negatively. Next are the plants. Plants interact with their environment in a variety of ways. Plants can sense light and will grow towards it. They can also sense gravity and will grow up even if there is no light. Plants also compete against each other underground. Their roots interact and release chemicals to stop their neighbors from growing. Next are the insects. Insects provide useful services to mankind and the environment in a number of ways. They keep pest insects in check, pollinate crops, we rely on as a food, and act as sanitation experts, cleaning up waste so that the world doesn't become overrun with dung. In fact, many beneficial garden insects actually improve soil, pollinate plants, or kill off nasty insects that harm plants. Some useful insects include honeybees, ladybugs, praying mantises, green lacewings, dragonflies, and earthworms. Next are the mammals. In all these environments, organisms interact and use available resources such as food, space, light, heat, water, air, and shelter. Each population of organisms and the individuals within it interact in specific ways that are limited by and can benefit from other organisms. Next are the mosses. Mosses are environmental benign way to conserve water, control erosion, filter rainwater, clean up hazardous chemicals, and sequester carbon. Also, mosses serve a valuable ecological role as bioindicators for air pollution, acid rain, water pollution, and wastewater treatment. Next are the animals. Every organism has a unique ecosystem within which it lives. This ecosystem is its natural habitat. This is where the basic needs of the organism to survive are met: food, water, shelter from the weather, and place to breed its young. All organisms need to adapt to their habitat to be able to survive. They interact in many ways with their surroundings. For example, this deer may be drinking from this stream or eating nearby plants. So this is an example of ecology, which is the study of interactions. Next are the reptiles. Reptiles are important components of the food webs in most ecosystems. They'll fill a critical role both as predator and prey species. Reptile species can also have a useful anthropogenic role in ecosystems. In some areas, they help control the numbers of serious agricultural pests by consuming rodent and insect pets. Next are the bacteria. Bacteria are single-celled microbes without a nucleus. Bacteria play many roles in our ecosystem. Bacteria are decomposers which break down dead material and recycle it. They also can be producers, making food from sunlight, such as photosynthetic bacteria, or chemicals such as chemosynthetic bacteria. Next are the lichens. Lichens enable algae to live all over the world, many different climates. They also provide a means to convert carbon dioxide in the atmosphere through photosynthesis into oxygen, which we all need to survive. Lichens can provide us with valuable information about the environment around us. Next are the birds. By spreading activities through different habitats, birds can move nutrients from one place to another, which is particularly relevant in places where plant growth is limited by nutrient availability. So that's it. That's all for the lesson 4. Thanks for listening. God bless. Bye.